ready, fucker.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello, and welcome to Flesh Lemon, the radio show you never asked for. We made up a game that we're gonna play called Which Hero Wins, in which we all bring a weird thing from the internet or from the world, and we tell each other, and the best one wins, and the losers buy snacks. I'm Cedar, petcher of dogs, and lover of pizza.
I'm just the void. The black void.
Alright, thanks, Void.
I'm Kaylee.
Alright.
Yeah. That's all you ever get to know about me.
Well, then you get to go first.
Okay, cool.
Tell us what you got.
Okay, so I researched the Overton Bridge. Never heard of it?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Okay, it's an infamous bridge in Scotland.
Is this the bridge the dogs jump off of?
Yes.
No!
Don't spoil it! Cedar!
I'm sorry. Keep
Anyway,
telling us.
specifically in West Dunbartonshire? Dunbartonshire?
That was correct.
Yeah, completely. Anyway, it's not just the dogs. There's also another thing.
Do people jump off of it too?
Well, there's one particular thing. Stop spoiling my story! Anyway!
I'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Continue.
Fuck up, Cedar. Okay, so since the 1950s, or 60s, I don't know, it's not giving me a definitive number, numerous dogs have leapt from the bridge at the rate of about 1 per year. So 1 doggo jumps to its death per year.
1 doggo sacrifice a year.
It falls 50 feet, or 15 meters, into the waterfalls below. There's literally no explanation for it. People have done, several research.
They've done science.
Yeah, they've done science. They did science.
To be like, we don't know why dogs...
so, no, and
Yeah, okay.
there's now a sign that says, dangerous bridge, keep your dog on a lead, because, so many dogs jump off this bridge. More interesting, in October of 1994, a man called Kevin Moy threw his 2-week-old son to his death from the bridge because he believed that his son was an incarnation of the devil.
Keep that kid alive. He sounds like a great party trick.
So the baby had just been brought home when they decided to have their first date outing together. Yeah, so this dude threw his baby son off the bridge after, it was like their first outing after they brought home this baby. And he threw him off with claims that he was the Antichrist.
It's not a very legitimate claim.
No, I think he just didn't want his baby anymore. It's like, you're the devil, goodbye.
So he dropped his newborn son off the side, causing him to be dashed on the wooden banks 12 meters below.
I'd like to suggest that maybe that man is the Antichrist, and the baby was fine.
So he then attempted to jump off the side himself, but was prevented by his wife.
So she was here the whole time, and she was like, well, the kid goes, and she's like, but I'm gonna save you.
And then afterwards, they were taken to a house that's nearby, and Moy grabbed a kitchen knife and tried to slash his wrists before being arrested. Oh no, sorry, he did slash his wrists before being arrested.
Sounds like a cool dude.
He survived the self-inflicted wounds, was trialed and found not guilty on reasons of insanity, and was sent to be detained in a state hospital. He claimed that his son was he claimed that he was the Antichrist.
I was fucking called
and that his son was Satan. And that they would spread a disease around the world if they were not stopped.
So he was like, I'm saving the world by killing my child.
Which you never know if those people are actually telling the truth or not.
That's true.
I'm gonna err on the side that they're just...
No, it's like, who's that guy? Herbie?
Oh yeah, Herbie! Herbie, the guy, the serial killer from California.
Yeah, he killed 12 people?
Yeah.
He killed 12 people to stop a super earthquake, and it's like, how do you know it wasn't done on terms? Like, okay.
Last podcast did I think it was at the end of the Ed Kemper episodes, they were like, and we call him Herbie because Ed Kemper pissed him off because they were in the same asylum together, and he'd be like, what up, Herbie? I killed more people than you! And they just hated each other.
Oh dear.
Our serial killer's great.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't until after this that people started noticing dogs jumping off of the bridge. Although it had been happening since the 50s and 60s, apparently it became more apparent after this.
Well, yeah, they probably brought, more media attention to the bridge.
So, but dogs, they jump from the same spot, on the right-hand side of the bridge, between the final 2 parapets.
Is that where the baby got thrown off, though?
I don't know.
Okay, conspiracy theory, the dog is looking over the bridge and just sees a fish, is like, oh, and then jumps.
I was thinking more maybe there's like a baby ghost being like, I love puppies, and then the dogs just like dive.
So that's my story.
Is there, like, not... The dogs aren't just, like, slipping off the bridge?
No,
like,
they're
No,
jumping.
I think I saw a documentary about this. They like run and they're like, bye, and just like,
They just jump off the bridge. Yeah.
It's a little dark.
it's a little dark. Oh god. Okay, so that solid story. Thank
Yeah,
you,
alright.
Kaylee.
Welcome.
All right, Void, go for it.
When I found this one, I just thought it was so funny and, like, so dumb.
Okay, well, tell us where you found it first of all.
Where I found it?
Yeah.
Okay, I just googled weirdest conspiracy theories. I'm a huge nerd for conspiracy theories. I love them. And Queen Elizabeth II is a cannibal.
Okay.
So apparently,
solid idea. I can get behind that.
apparently, when she's on camera, it's not actually the real queen. It's a body double because the real queen is too evil to be shown on camera. And she eats people, usually children, to live longer and be more full of energy.
That is
and
why she's living so long.
have more vitality.
This is so ridiculous that Colton, who's just listening to this, is giggling.
Yeah, this is why I had to do this. I thought this was so funny. Okay, and the servants, or I don't know, the servants, people that work like in
The help.
the help found apparently like. I'm not saying that this is true. This is just what I've researched and what I've seen and what I saw and what people think.
What the
This is
internet has told you.
what the internet has told me. I do not think this of the queen. Just disclaimer. So
It's
the
not like she's listening.
just saying. The help apparently found frozen dead body parts in the queen's personal freezer, and they never questioned it because they were just like, oh, the queen must have obtained these body parts, these human body parts, legally from over the seas.
I want to be wealthy and respected enough to have a personal freezer.
So, like, who...
I mean, any freezer can be a personal freezer.
Kaylee, you're my personal freezer.
How does one obtain human
She's cold
body
enough.
parts legally? Like, you don't.
True.
And then put them in, like, your personal freezer? Like, come on. And apparently, I googled it, apparently the queen has really pointy teeth, but then it's like, they're just like, Google pictures of her, but if you're Googling pictures of the queen, and it's not necessarily the queen because she's too evil to be shown on camera, then you're not really seeing the real queen. So, like, flaws?
I feel like you just turned into Reddit. Like the human embodiment of Reddit.
Ew, don't.
if you Google images the queen cannibal question mark, this is the image that comes up.
Let me see.
Cannibal question mark?
Okay, I
Queen cannibal question mark.
I gotta describe this for the kids at home. So it's like the opening image for a trailer of a horror movie about crazy old women. It's just like a really brooding brow and she's smiling, but it's from a really bad angle.
But yeah, the queen cannibal.
Yeah. So, all of the royals are reptilian cannibals.
We
It's
knew
not
that.
just the
We
queen.
knew that.
And apparently, a man witnessed her abducting 10 children, but was killed one day before taking the stand against the queen. He just died mysteriously.
Oh.
So like, but did he die mysteriously of like, oh, we found him in the river, or was he just like, he's
It
gone?
doesn't say he was killed or he died mysteriously the day before he was supposed to be like, yes, the queen stole 10 children.
I bet you the queen was like, you know what I'm hungry for? Liars.
She was also seen escorting children from Kamloops Residential School in British Columbia.
Oh.
And these kids were never seen again. But, like, why is the queen personally escorting children from British Columbia?
Well,
And where did these children
first of all,
go?
she owns British Columbia because British Columbia fucking loves the queen. Like, out of all of the provinces in Canada, British Columbia was like, that's our bitch.
But I feel like the queen has better things to do than escort children from a school.
But what if she, you know, she has like 13 corgis? What
Yeah.
if she just like,
transforms
Yes!
into corgis?
That's what I was
She's
gonna
a
say.
cannibal witch. Oh.
She is our bitch. Like, we're here for the queen.
They were never seen again, and she does child sacrifice, so that's probably why they were never seen again. She like
For the corgis.
bathes in their blood and remains
Oh,
youthful.
like Elizabeth with no
Battery.
battery.
It's Bathory spelled like that, but apparently it's just the H
Yeah.
is silent. Elizabeth Battery.
What if it's that same Elizabeth?
She's still fucking alive. Shit.
Oh, new conspiracy theory.
Oh.
Time to dive into the internet.
So she's also part of the Ninth Circle satanic cult rituals.
Oh.
The kids were used as sacrifices for the ritual, and in order to keep the scandal covered up of all of the kids dying in this satanic circle and stuff, they kill whistleblowers. So people are just like, this happens, and they just like go and kill them. So that's why I did the disclaimer, because I don't want to come and be killed because I'm saying this stuff.
So wait, time out. So like, the American government can be like Satanist, like weird child porn cults. And everybody knows it, but they're just like, no, we're not. Lol. Just kidding. And the queen is like, actually killing people who find this shit out. Like, the American government needs to take a lesson from Queen Elizabeth and just start fucking knocking people off.
You think we're killing babies? We kill you.
You are the babies.
Okay. That's
Are
my
you done?
conspiracy theory of Queen Elizabeth II as a
Okay,
cannibal.
that was fucking awesome.
I thought that was pretty great.
Oh my god, okay, so you guys did like weird, creepy bridge conspiracy theory. I just stuck to what I know. Serial killers.
Of course.
So I'm doing one of the most dead-eyed human beings I've ever seen on Wikipedia.
It's Dahmer.
No, I'm not. He's my boy. I'm not gonna sully the name of Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm doing a guy named Robert Christian Hansen.
Ew, that's a serial killer name. Why is it that all serial killers have
So,
like their full
they put
first, middle, and last?
They
name?
put their full name in, so some dude on Facebook named Robert Hansen doesn't get attacked for being a serial killer.
Okay,
Smart.
that makes a lot of sense.
So, this dude was born in Iowa, February 15th. My brother's birthday. Conspiracy?
Oh,
Maybe.
your brother is the serial killer.
In 1939, and he died August 21st, 2014.
Oh wow.
So, this motherfucker kidnapped, raped, and murdered at least 17 women, possibly 30 plus women, in Anchorage, Alaska, and he hunted them like animals.
Wait, I think I saw this on Forensic Files.
Oh! So he was born in Iowa. When he was young, he was really, really skinny and shy, and he had a stutter. But on top of that, he had acne so bad that his face has been permanently scarred.
Mm.
And in later years, when he was in prison, he described his childhood face as being one big pimple.
Ew.
Ooh, buddy.
So, hard
I'm
knock
just
life.
subconsciously touching my acne right now, like.
So he ended up actually getting married, but like, you know what he looks like? Like,
A serial killer?
I'm trying to find a good descriptor. He looks like
He looks like a nerdy math teacher from high school that all the kids pick on, and then he goes home and writes about it on like his blog, like, I hate these kids and I just...
a whole bunch of 14-year-old boys were yelling at me today. Yep, that's exactly.
They don't know what life is like.
Yep, that's exactly what
So,
Robert
like-
Hansen looks like.
All of our teachers from high school.
Okay, so he gets married, and then in 1960, this is my favorite, one of my favorite Wikipedia lines ever. He burnt down a school bus garage.
Oh.
That's an interesting thing to burn down.
I mean, but I guess it's like arson. There wasn't like the McDonald triad is like bedwetting, animal cruelty, and arson. He's got one.
Not bad wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say bad wedding?
No,
Bad
bed
wedding?
weddings.
It sounded like you said bad wedding. I'm like,
You got a bad wedding.
Well,
you're
he
a
did
serial
get
killer. I heard
married.
bad wedding.
I heard bad wedding, and I was like, that's weird.
Okay, so he only served 21 months of a 3-year sentence for that, and then he was like, back out on the street with you, Robert.
Robert.
And then on June 13th, I'm skipping way ahead now.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
fine.
1983. So, this is his last victim, and this is turning into a fucking I Survived story, because this girl
Nice.
is one badass bitch. Okay, June 13th, 1983, teenage girl, 17 years old, named Cindy Paulson, escapes Hansen, okay? He offered her sex, he was like, $200 if you blow me, and she was like, you know what, I need to make some cash, I'm in fucking Alaska, I need to get my life together. So she gets in his car, and once she's in the car, he pulls a gun on her. And some super uncool things happen to this girl. If you can't see my notes, other people on the internet, but I have in bold letters in pink glitter pen, super uncool things.
Super uncool things.
So, he pretty much, like, tortures and rapes her for an
Ew.
afternoon, and then once he's done, he chains her by the neck to a post in his basement,
Ew.
and falls asleep on a couch beside her.
Ew.
So, this girl, my homegirl Cindy, is like, my life ain't gonna end like this. I gotta do some shit. So, when he wakes up, he dresses her, loads her up into his truck, handcuffs her hands and feet, puts her in the back seat and is like, lay on the ground, lay on the floor of the back seat. He's like, I'm gonna load you into my plane, I'm gonna fly you to my cabin out in buttfuck nowhere, Alaska, and then shit's gonna go down from there. So pretty much what he did to all of these women is he'd like assault them, kidnap them, the whole 9 yards, and then he'd fly them to his cabin and let them run wild in the woods while he chased them and hunted them like animals.
Yeah. Wasn't this an episode of Supernatural?
Kind of.
Yes. They also made a movie and...
Is it called Preservation?
No.
No.
The movie is called Frozen Ground,
Oh.
and Nicolas Cage plays the FBI guy who catches his dude. But the best part is it's supposed to be set in the 80s, but there's like a whole bunch of inconsistencies. Like they left the Yelp review sticker on like the diner door, and it's like 1983 Yelp.
What's it called? Frozen?
The Frozen Ground. And what's that guy's name? Michael something, I think, plays Robert Hansen.
Sierra?
Yes. Yes.
Hang on, I'm looking it up.
Okay, so will you look that
Oh
up?
my god, John Cusack?
Yeah, that's who I mean, John
And
Cusack.
Vanessa Hudgens plays Cindy
What?
Bolton.
I know.
And 50 Cent is...
Okay.
And Dean Norris. Holy crap.
Star-studded fucking cast
Right?
for Robert
Vanessa
Hansen.
Hudgens, Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, and 50 Cent. I want all those people to star in the biography film in my life.
But you're played by Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Okay, so he drives her out to, like, where his plane is.
Why
And-
did they cast John Cusack? He's actually kind of good looking.
I love John Cusack, but do you remember that movie he did about the hotel room? That movie fucked me up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like to remember John Cusack from Say Anything. Say Anything? Something like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, I just like to remember him from that movie. He'll always be that John Cusack.
He was
in my
really
mind.
beefy in that movie. He was
Yeah.
kind of hot.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I will move it.
Okay,
Say Anything, I think.
so as he gets out of his truck and starts loading stuff from the truck into the plane,
Yeah.
this fucking girl, my fucking hero, decides, she's like, this ain't gonna happen. So when his back is turned, she opens up the back door of the truck, crawls out, but in her smart 17-year-old brain, she leaves her sneakers in the car as proof that she was there. She hides them under a seat. And climbs out. And then she fucking runs to the highway while
Yeah.
this dude's chasing her and flags down a truck driver. And she's running with her fucking ankles and hands cuffed, hop into the highway.
Cindy.
The truck driver picks her up and she's fucking out of there. So, like, round of applause for Cindy Paulson. Like, that's my girl. Okay. So then, now, we're gonna read the rest of this off the internet. I'm gonna paraphrase. So, shit happens. She ends up going to a hotel and calling the cops. The cops show up, and Cindy is just, like, all over this shit. So she's super disheveled. You know, she's pretty much like she's had the shit beaten out of her,
Yeah.
and she's been raped, and she's run around with no shoes on, and she's been cuffed. So,
Yeah.
like... So, she goes to this hotel called the Mush Inn, and...
The Mush Inn.
It's in Alaska, like what else?
It's either mushy or snowy.
And they were told that a young woman had been taken in a cab of a truck to the Big Timber Motel. So she goes from, like, the Mush Inn, and then the truck driver's like, no, we're going to drive you farther up to get you farther away from this creep. And Alaska PD officers arrive to room 110 of this hotel to find Cindy. She's still handcuffed and alone. So the truck driver was like, we're going to get you a room, and I'll just leave you here. You'll be fine. Which is like, that dude's also, like, a solid dude, but still a little shady for him to be like, I want nothing to do with this.
If I was that truck driver, I would just, like, stand outside.
Just
door.
guard her door.
Nobody getting in here.
I mean, the dude left, so he probably had some
Maybe he had a
bad
place to
stuff
be.
going on.
Or
He's
maybe-
a truck driver. He's on a schedule.
He's a
Or
truck
maybe
driver.
he had
They all
another
have
teenage
something to
girl
hide.
in the back of his truck.
Oh! Truck drivers all have something to hide.
That's true.
So, the cops show up, they take her to the headquarters, and she describes the perp,
Yep.
Hansen. She's
Face.
Dick Face Hansen.
No relation to the Hanson brothers.
No relation to that terrible band from the 90s.
I don't want to sing it because it's a terrible song. Anyway, continue on.
Okay, so they bring Hansen in because, like, she describes the dude, and they're like, we know this creep because this is fucking Anchorage, and there's like 6
Yeah.
people that live here.
Yeah. I need to
So-
look up the population of Anchorage.
That's so wrong. If you came here for facts, you came to the wrong place. So he denies everything. He's like, I don't know this girl. I don't know what happened to her. She's on drugs. And he's like, she was a prostitute, and maybe I saw her once. Honestly, she wasn't a prostitute. Sorry, sex worker. So, he stated that Paulson was just trying to cause some trouble because he would not pay her fucking Wikipedia, pay her extortion demands.
Oh dear.
Wow.
So she was pretty.
We got there.
We got there.
Okay. I can read. I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
But Hansen had a whole bunch of prior run-ins with the law, but he was super, like, he pretended to be super meek and humble, so the cops were like, it couldn't have been this guy. This guy's like a baker. He makes pies. He's a super chill dude. And he also had an alibi from his friend John Henning. Fuck that guy. Fuck you, John Henning. So the case went cold, and then this dude, Detective Glenn Flawhall.
Again?
Floff.
Falafels.
Detective
I could
Falafel
go for a falafel.
of the Alaska State Troopers had been part of a team investigating the discovery of several bodies at Anchorage and the other areas. I'm not gonna try. Matanuska, Satina Valley area. So they had pretty much found a whole bunch of dead women in this area of Alaska, and they were like, well, they've all been raped, tortured, and shot with hunting guns, so maybe it's the same dude, and they put together a little task force. I love the idea of their task force being a whole bunch of Alaskan state troopers, like, standing on the edge of the highway in their, like, tan suits, with all their motorcycles being like, so we got some bodies. Yeah, we got some bodies.
I've never seen that clip. It's like some dramatic reality show.
In
It's like,
quotation
it
marks.
is like a state trooper, and he goes, yep, and it's like dramatic music. It's a bucket. That's like literally what I imagine.
You mean
happened.
Reno 911? Have you seen that?
I don't know. I literally just saw
Okay.
this one clip. It's just like, yep, that's a bucket.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's a dead prostitute.
Thank you.
So this guy pretty much puts it together that, there's a whole bunch of dead women in the area, and we just had this girl escape, and there's nobody to blame this on, even though you have an eye fucking witness who's like, that's the guy who raped me.
Buddy.
Shitty job there, Anchorage Police
Yeah.
Department.
Yeah.
They found a whole bunch of bodies. A lot of them they couldn't identify. So there's Alcuna Annie is what they called one of the bodies. She has never been identified to this day, but Hansen has taken, he's like, yeah, I did that one.
Of course he did. He's a stupid serial killer.
1 year later, they found the body of Joanna Messina, who was discovered in a gravel pit near Seward in 1982, which is a year before Cindy was kidnapped.
Huh.
The remains of a 23-year-old Sherry Morrow was discovered in a shallow grave near the Knit River. Sergeant Falafel now has 3 bodies.
I don't
Sergeant
think his name is
Falafel.
Falafel.
I can't remember how to say the name.
Both?
He now has 3 bodies, and they all look like they came from the same dude. So pretty much stuff goes on. They investigate some more. They come up with a psychological profile, and based on the bodies.
Psychological profile. Fucked up.
This dude is weird. So then another guy named Hazelwood thought that the killer would be an experienced hunter with low self-esteem. He'd have a history of being rejected by women. That first wife did not turn out very well.
Bad weddings.
Bad weddings. God, you guys keep making me miss my spot.
She forgot the roses.
She lost the ring.
So he'd have a
I didn't have my good spirits. Like, what makes a bad wedding?
all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so he'd have a history of being rejected by women and would feel compelled to keep souvenirs from his murders.
No.
Keep an eye on those souvenirs because that's what gets this bitch in the end. Okay.
Nice.
Such as victims' jewelry and that kind of stuff.
The hell was that?
Nice.
Okay, let's try and get through this. I'm almost done. Okay,
It's fine.
but the clincher on this was they also suggested that he might have a stutter, which he had as a kid. There are a couple rules. If your kid has a frontal lobe injury,
Send
if
it
he
back.
stuttered,
Throw it off a bridge.
Don't do any of that! Don't kill the children!
Unless they're the Antichrist.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the Antichrist. The baby was Satan. The guy was Antichrist.
I like how he thinks that his baby was his dad.
Yeah. Switching it up.
Wow.
Kevin Moy.
Maybe it was just the same person and he had to end the time loop.
You're not telling a story right
oh
now.
my god! It's like Looper, but demonic.
And I don't want to think of the idea as Bruce Willis, or sorry,
Joseph
Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Yeah.
pretending to be Bruce Willis, throwing himself off a bridge.
Gordon-Levitt, don't
As a
kill
baby.
yourself. You're too
He's a
cute.
baby. Okay.
As a baby.
So, using this
Wow.
profile, Sergeant Falafel investigated... Come on, I'm trying to do
We
something.
interrupted my story a lot. So,
Alright, I can take it. Using the profile, Sergeant Falafel investigated all possible suspects until he reached Hansen, who fit, like, the profile, and owned a fucking plane, which is, like...
what a dork owning a plane.
Yeah, because
Supported-
owning a plane just,
Oh, God.
terrible. Who would ever own a plane?
It's not very fuel efficient.
No, it's not.
It's not fun either.
It's not
like,
good
come
for
on.
the environment.
Who don't care about the environment?
This guy.
This guy right there.
That one.
The sound guy.
Okay, so supported by Cindy, that one. I feel like Cindy walks into the courtroom and it's like, I'm a badass bitch.
When kicks open the courtroom doors, like, what up, fucker?
Yeah. So, supported by Cindy's testimony and Hazelwood's profile, who is the dude who did the profile on all the bodies, Falafel and the Alaska PD secured a warrant to search Hansen's plane, cars, and home. So on October 27th, 1983, investigators discovered jewelry belonging to some of the missing women, as well as an array of firearms in a corner hideaway of Hansen's attic. The biggest find was an aviation map with a little X on it. Hansen had hidden behind his headboard, which is like, first of all, if you hide anything behind your headboard that isn't porn, you're shady.
Yeah, okay. That's it. Whatever. Continue.
Alrighty.
So when confronted with this evidence found at his home, Hansen denied it as long as he could, but eventually everything kind of began to fall apart, and he began to, like, pretty much they were like, you blame women for everything, and that justified his motives, eventually confessing to each item of evidence as it was presented to him, admitting to spree attacks against Alaskan women starting in 1971. Hansen's earliest victims were young women between the ages of 16 to 19. Not all sex workers and strippers, but they interviewed a whole bunch of the sex workers and strippers in Alaska, and they were like, this dude's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Bam! So on lock. So he pretty much went to prison for, I wrote it down somewhere. I did not write it down. He went to prison. So he was convicted in 1983 and was sentenced to 461 years with no possibility of parole.
Good.
So they were like, we got this dude on lock.
I'll be back.
So he died at...
I hope not.
He died at the age of 75
Good.
at Alaska Regional Hospital in Anchorage on August 21st, 2014, due to undisclosed lingering health conditions.
Bye, bitch.
And now, just to recap it all, I'm gonna read the names of his victims, because these are the women we really should be thinking about, not this fucking asshole. So Lisa Fertel, who is 41, acknowledged body found with Hansen's help. Miley Larson, 28, Sue Luna, 23, Tammy Penderson, 20, Angela Federn, 24, Teresa Watson, no age on her, Delynn Sugar Faye.
I like that name.
It's a good name. Sugar was her nickname. She sounds like a sweet baby angel. No age on her either. Laura Golding, acknowledged body
Paula
found.
Golding.
Sorry, Paula Golding. My apologies. Andrea Fish Alteri, body not found. So he admitted to it, but they never found her. Sherry Morrow, 23. Altoona Annie, which was the name of the unidentified body they found.
Yeah.
Eklutna.
Eklutna Annie. Thank you, my love. True identity never discovered. Joanna Messina, body found. Horseshoe Harriet, which was another body that they never identified. Acknowledged body found with Hansen's help. True identity has never been discovered. Roxanne Easlin, 24. Cecilia Beth Vander Tanton, 17.
Aw.
Megan Emmerich, 17. He denied these last two women, but suspected that he did it because their names are found under the X on the map,
Oh.
or their bodies. Megan Emmerich, 17, and the last was Mary Hill, 27, denied, but her body was found. Thanks. Mary Phil. So of these 17 women, Hansen has only been formally charged with the murder of 4.
He's only been charged with 4, but he got 400 years? Oh, I guess a life sentence for each woman. So
Yeah.
400. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Probably, and the 61 is probably tacked on with the rape and torture and kidnap of Cindy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's an FBI Files episode called Hunter's Grave, true crime story in 2007. There's a documentary. There's another one called Hidden City Episode 1, or Season 1 Episode 12, that's about him. Criminal Minds Season 5 did... Oh, I fucking love that episode. They did an episode based on him called Exit Wounds, which is great. So if you ever want to see, like,
Spencer Reed.
yeah, or Shamar Moore.
Oh, fuck. More. My mom is just like that man.
I feel like moms just really like that
Shamar
guy.
Moore?
Yeah.
Have you seen him in interviews? He wears, like, glasses, and he's, like,
No.
really big and burly in the show. And then in interviews, he's, like, sitting there with, like... He was on Oprah. I remember this episode of Oprah, because Oprah looked at him, and she was like, I want to lick you all over.
Oh,
and he
I
was
mean-
like...
I mean,
Stop right there.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
I'm sorry, have you seen a picture of him?
so that was Robert Hansen.
What a dick.
Yeah, he was pretty much an asshole.
What a fuckface.
And, I hope he's, being tortured right now in the depths of all heck.
I like how you cuss through your entire
Right?
thing and then all heck.
That's going too far.
I can't say...
Fuck, motherfucker, fuck. It's like, wow.
So yeah, these are our stories that we decided to bring to the bedroom today.
Ooh,
Because we're literally
Mm.
in Cedar's bedroom.
into the bedroom.
Ooh.
Let's not say it like that.
Okay.
Okay, so the question everyone's waiting for, which widow wins?
I'm putting my vote towards...
Me too. Yeah.
Excuse you.
Sound
who
guy?
am I?
Hmm.
I mean, the void.
Excuse me, the void. I'm putting my vote towards
That
the
name
void.
has to be
Me
bleeped
too.
out now.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Leave it in, but just literally bleep it.
Yeah.
The void wins.
Burritos on you.
Okay, fair enough. So thanks for tuning in to Flesh Lemon. We'll probably be doing more of these. This might not even make it onto the internet, honestly.
Probably.
We're just gonna do this for ourselves.
We're just doing this for ourselves.
to be released in 20 years.
In a time capsule.
Oh my
So
God,
our
we
babies
should-
can be
Wait,
embarrassed of us.
Excuse me, your babies.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, you're the
I'm the only
godparents.
breeder here.
you're the only breeder.
Not even.
Listen here, breeder.
So is there anything you guys want to end with?
We're gonna go eat burritos now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go
And
fuck up some
Take your
burritos,
dog to the groomer.
which we have
Oh,
to
yeah.
do before we get burritos.
Now, we need to do that now.
Like leave right now.
Alright. Thanks for tuning in. This was Flesh Lemon. Bye!
Bye.